Welcome to the journey of an entrepreneur. I'm Ryan Batts, founder of Teacher Under Pressure, and this podcast is all about the highs, the lows, and lessons of entrepreneurship. I'll share my own personal journey, going over the wins, the struggles, and the mindset shifts that made the difference. But I'll also bring in other entrepreneurs, leaders, and go-getters to share their stories. If you're looking for real conversations about business, life, and pushing through challenges, you're in the right place. Let's go get it. Welcome to the journey of an entrepreneur. I'm your host, Ryan Batts, and today I'm with the amazing Amanda Street, owner of Shoefly Athletics in Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. With a background in exercise science, nutrition, food science, Amanda's amazing journey has taken her from the basketball court of college to playing rugby nationally with the U.S. national women's team to now coaching athletes of all levels. She's a highly certified strength and conditioning coach who's passionate about helping others and to reach their peak performance. All right, let's dive into Streety's story. Hello, Street.
Well, thank you so much for that really nice introduction, Bats.
Oh, yes. Very welcome. And I have a surprise for you. I have done some street statistics, okay?
No.
Yes. So I don't think you realize how elite you might be, but I'm going to give you the numbers behind how elite you are, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, let's dive in. So first, Street has a six-pack, okay? So let's dive into the numbers with that, all right? Because I think first of all, that's elite, okay? To have a six-pack alone, but for a woman to have a six-pack it's fewer than 1% of Americans have a visible six-pack, okay?
I do have to have a shout out to my parents' genetics, though. I got to say, I may have been born with at least a four-pack. I've worked hard for that last two, but I think I've always kind of had a little bit of a four-pack.
Okay. She's humble, too. She's humble, all right? She works hard for that six-pack.
That's
all
right.
So fewer than 1% of America. All right. Next, women who own gyms. All right. Only 13% of gym owners in America are women. So that's another elite category that you fall into. Now let's go into the athletics. Only 2% of high school athletes go on to play NCAA sports, which Street did. And then she went on to play at the national level for the women's national rugby team, which, listen to this, 0.0003% of athletes globally that do that. So another elite category. Small business survival rates. She's been going strong for 10 years now. Only 20% of small businesses, 20% of small businesses fail in their first year, and nearly 50% fail within that 5-year range. So another elite category. And then we have the fitness gold, just sticking with your goals. And that is only 8% of Americans stick with their fitness long-term goals. So those are some elite categories, Streety. So I kind of just wanted to give you a shout out there. And I don't even know if you realized how elite you might be.
I did not realize that. That is some really interesting statistics. I think I'm almost more shocked by the low percentage of female business owners.
Yeah.
Female gym owners.
Yeah. So. Yeah. That's because it's like some of my goals this year, like to go into that elite categories. Like, so, did college wrestling, owning a business, and now I'm trying to get my six-pack back. So, yeah. I mean,
we are both working hard at that. You and I, yeah, I'm with that journey with you.
Yeah, with your help, with your guidance, as Street has helped me and gave me a program for that. So that is awesome. All right, Street, enough about me. We're just about you. Let's go back before the Shoefly, and let's go back to, growing up, middle school, elementary, high school. Let's talk about your athletics and how that kind of molded you who you are today within the way you you take things head first, your leadership, things like that. So how do you think sports played a part in your journey to where you are now?
Well, I can 100% tell you that sports saved my life, hands down for sure. I grew up in West Virginia. My parents, they had me when they were really young. They were kids themselves. So we didn't have a lot. I grew up pretty poor, and not a whole lot of access to many things like after school programs or, you know, specialized training where you can hire a coach to teach you how to do something. And that stuff just wasn't really there. But what was there was a little rec center that had a skate park in the back and a bunch of basketball hoops. It had a weight room in the top portion with a teeny tiny room that was probably meant to be a closet that turned into a little boxing gym. And it was just kind of like this place that you could go to that was just your town rec center. And anyone, regardless of economic status or whatever, could go and sign up to play recreational sports. And that was something that I got into immediately. I'm talking second grade. I was on a basketball team through the rec center. And it was something that provided me somewhere to go after school. It gave me basically somewhere to report to learn, to be under like the guidance of some mentors, things like that. And then, it fueled my competitive drive because there was constantly a game. You know how rec league is. You're playing like a couple practices a week and then you play a game every Saturday. So it was just like this constant will to want to play. I want to play this game. I want to compete. And this is an opportunity for me to do so. So I kind of became like a gym rat. I kind of just like did everything they had to offer at the rec center. Like, if it was basketball season, I was playing basketball. If it was soccer season, I was playing soccer. If it was softball, I was playing softball. I just tried to do everything that I could. My dad, who was super athletic, he actually coached my third, fourth, and fifth grade basketball team through that rec center. So my dad became my coach, which was really cool and also bad at the same time because then you're like never getting away from the person who's coaching you. So it also instilled in me some extra work, right? When I got home, my practice wasn't over. I had a little basketball goal at the house and I would have to get through 100 shots, not 100 made shots. I just needed to shoot 100 shots. And then I would, take a percentage, like a grade of how I did. And that was constant. That was forever from the time I can remember being in third grade to me literally leaving to go and play at Shepherd. So I would say for me, it kept me out of trouble. It gave me a sense of like confidence. It gave me a sense of belonging because I was meeting so many other people. And I think that for a lot of people, especially in the area that I grew up, it is very different than here in the way that it's a small town. Everyone kind of takes care of each other. Everyone tries to support each other, but everybody also knows that we don't have a whole lot, right? And I feel like that was great growing up because I was always getting a ride to practice. I was always getting picked up by somebody else. Sometimes I would go home with these teammates of mine and have dinner with them because my mom was working such late nights at the hospital that like it just gave me access to be able to be a really quite normal kid. Whereas other kids in my situation who did not play sports started to fall through the cracks. They, did not so great in school or they didn't have those types of programs. And I still go back home and I see some of those people and I think to myself, I wish they could have found something like I found in sports. Because I do think that that's where it all started. And that's where I think, I took a positive turn. So
do you think because you felt that love and and had that community within, that rec center. Is that like why or how you wanted to start Shoofly?
Not at the time. I didn't know that until I got older. I didn't realize the impact that building had on me until like even after I stopped playing rugby. I just realized that having a space like that and having it be accessible to everyone, or it is as accessible as possible, right? How important that was for me as a youth athlete. And now as an adult, I see those youth athletes and I want them to be in an environment like that. And it's like you look around and you're like, well, unless I create it, it might not exist. And when I decided to open a gym, I decided that I wanted it to be not just one thing, like you just never know what's going to hit with somebody. It could be they just want to be active and healthy and they're interested in this, or you could throw something completely different at them that they didn't even know they would enjoy. And all of a sudden that's the spark that lights within them. And for me, it was basketball because basketball was something that I could practice without having to buy anything. You just need a basketball and a hoop and I could just play and play and play for free. And my mom did tell me, because she is a very practical, realistic person. She told me, if you ever want to get out of this town, you need to get an athletic or academic scholarship. And to me, I always felt like I was more likely to get the athletic scholarship than the academic scholarship. I'm a very smart person, but I just wasn't sure. I didn't have that confidence like I did athletically. So I just poured my heart and soul into working to get an athletic scholarship, which then led me to Shepherd. So I was able to play college basketball. It was Division II, but it was literally like I didn't know the difference between Division I or Division II at that point. I was there to do a job. And so the things that I showed up to do for my coach, it kind of put me into this very independent, I can manage myself. These are the things that I was taking a lot of responsibility for. And I think that was another aspect of sports that really helped me as well, because I'm the type of person that I think I probably do have a bit of an addictive personality, like a drive that I'll just keep going and keep going and keep going. And you can use those powers for good or evil, right? And so I was like, I want to make sure I'm putting myself in situations where I'm making a positive impact and I'm not, taking a wrong turn or going down some road I don't want to go down. So I realized that about myself at a young age, that I probably did have this kind of addictive personality, and I need to use those powers for good and not evil. And so going to college and not being distracted so much about the partying part, that you can easily fall into, and having athletics and having a coach who was like, you need to be accountable to me. I'm basically paying you to be here to play basketball. It just put another level for me to stay on the path and to get what I truly knew I wanted to do done without the distraction. I had the goal and I just wanted to fulfill it. And I think that that's something that I'll probably continue to carry over. I always have a carrot. There's always a carrot in front of me. Always. I can't remember a time that there hasn't been a carrot that I'm chasing. So
Yeah, why do you think that is? I think it's like, it's a great quality, but it's almost like it's an unachievable, like quality to have as well. Like I'm the same way. Like I'm always looking for the next thing. I'm always thinking, well, what's good enough? I don't know if there is, but maybe that's just the way we're wired. Yeah. So what's your next thing now? What are you thinking? What are you?
I don't even know. I'm going to tell you because it's exciting, and I really haven't even this is special because I really haven't told.
Okay. All right. All right. Pause.
Making
Pause.
a big announcement.
Okay.
But if I was going to tell anybody on anyone's podcast, I would choose you, Bats.
All right.
That's what I would do. So,
Okay.
so I've opened up a few small businesses. I do a little bit here and there. But my gym has been the big thing, right? I've been in operation for actually 11 years, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
It's crazy. It doesn't seem like it, doesn't feel like it, but some days it feels like it's 20 years. Some days it feels like it's only 2 years, but it's been 11 years. So with that, I've been able to kind of learn trial by fire on being a small business owner. And I've opened up a screen printing business in the past, and that was a really fun venture, and I still utilize that as well. And the next venture that I am tacking on to this little shoe fly empire, I guess I'm creating, is a coffee shop.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
greedy. I love it.
Yeah. So it's been on the back burner, slowly brewing. Uh, and we're getting to the point now where I feel comfortable enough to tell people that
Okay.
that's my goal, and that's what I'm working on. And it's going to be something that is to bring the community together, to be able to have an inclusive space where not just our community of athletes can go, but anyone who would enjoy a really good cup of coffee and great atmosphere.
Hmm.
So for me, I want to be able to create a place that when someone walks in, they feel like they belong, but they don't know why. Right? Like, oh, I feel like I belong here, but I'm not really sure why. And I think that that's kind of how Shoe Fly has always been. It's a hard thing for me to describe, um, but it's always been for me a vibe. Like it's not a place,
Yeah.
it's not one thing. It's a lot of millions of little things all put into one. And it isn't Shoe Fly unless we all are in it together, putting our heart and soul into it and our positivity and lifting each other up. And to me, Shoe Fly has always been a vibe. And I've always, I always check my vibe when I walk in the gym. I'm always like, all right, vibe check. Like I'm bringing the vibe, I'm bringing the good positivity. And I don't think it matters like what color your logo is, what this is, what that is. When someone walks into a space like that, that has energy, that has really genuine, real good vibes, where you know that that person really does want to see you succeed. They really do care about you in that way. That's infectious. And that alone is what makes people feel welcomed and included. Um, and that to me is what Shoe Fly is. So as long as I like keep that in the forefront of my mind, like it's not one thing. It's not this, it's not that. It's literally the fact that you are trying to live a way that lets people know that they're welcome in your space, right? You're welcome in my space if you have a goal that you want to work on. You're genuine about it. I'm genuine about it. I want you to know I'll do whatever it takes that I can to help you get there, as long as you're doing your part too. And that type of camaraderie and that type of chemistry is what's allowed us, I think, to be open for 11 years.
Yeah.
And on top of that, every time I talk to my athletes, they're always like, man, I wish we had a coffee shop. And I'm like, me too, man. And then, and then it's like
That's
we
how it
have this
happens.
really cool, yeah. And then we
You
have
listen
this
to your
space.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
just listen
You
to your
listen to
people.
them and you just start thinking about it and you're like, okay. And honestly, the 5:15 a.m. class is kind of what really made me decide I would do this, because they just started hanging out after
Mm,
class, making their
okay.
own coffee, taking up space, inviting others to come into that space. And it was very organic. And it
Mm.
was like, okay, we want to do that. I want to do that too. I want to support that with y'all. And maybe we can make it something that's really special and even better. So that's the latest pot on the stove right now.
Oh my goodness. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be like inside Shoe Fly, like
Mm-hmm.
located.
It is. It's we basically have a pretty cool opportunity because when we first moved into the new space, I was like, I want to switch over this lobby. I want to make this whole front area a shop, like a coffee shop.
Hmm.
But I mean, you know how it is. You can't do everything at once.
Yeah.
And so moving into a new space is hard enough, but then also like completely even rebranding and changing things over and all of that. I was like, it's not the right time, but it's something that I know that I will hopefully eventually get the opportunity to work on. And so a couple years had passed, and we've had multiple different people in the space that have been just completely awesome. For example, Evolve Physical Therapy have been with us for a long time, and they grew their business so much so that they needed a bigger space for themselves, which opened up space in our gym because they were now moving to a larger location, and it opened up a vacant spot that we had. And that's when I kind of got the idea like, all right, you can either do something and do it yourself and see how it goes and take that risk, take that chance,
Hmm.
or you can just ask someone else to come in and do it. And I was like, man, I think I can do it. Like, I don't even think I can do it. I want to do it. I
Yeah.
want to do this. It's a passion of mine. And I think it'll be really fun. And I think it's going to be something that helps the current business and hopefully our community. So I am just, I'm nervous and scared about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm very, very apprehensive, but also
We,
excited and looking forward to the journey, basically.
well, I know you can do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. The stats and the background kind of prove itself. But that's exciting. That's really exciting. Yeah, I'm gonna let me rewind it a little bit. The inclusive part of the gym. Now,
Hmm.
that's why I love it so much. You just have so many different personalities, and
Hmm.
they're not like normal personalities. They're all kinds of different personalities. Almost like a group of misfits that have come together and I don't know, share a space. A little bit of crazy too. We it used to be CrossFit Shoe Fly, and then we still kind of follow those workouts, which I don't know, maybe the typical person wouldn't do. I mean, even though it's great and functional, it's just like it's hard. And
Hmm.
so, um, how did when you were first starting Shoe Fly, was it your idea to like have this all inclusive space, or did it just kind of like naturally happen? Can you just talk about that?
So actually, it was always the goal was to do what I'm doing now. Man, there was a quote that I read, and it was just like a couple weeks ago, and I honestly can't remember exactly how it was put, but it was along the premise of you have a dream and you visualize it in your head. And what I have found is that sometimes you can't quite get to that exact visualization right off the get-go. Like you see it, it's distant, you know you can get there, but you're like, how do I get here? And so I have always wanted to have a space that is multifunctional. I am not defined by one thing, me as a person. And I do not want my business to be that narrow either. And so I have always been, I'll use the term constantly varied because that makes sense, but
Mm.
constantly varied with the things that I choose to do, which is why I have kind of that wide range of backgrounds and certifications, is because I'm interested in so many things that I want to learn. I want to figure out more about that thing. And in order for someone to trust me that I've done my work, I guess the certification is there to show it, right? Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
actually did go and try and learn this. And whether I become a professional at it or not, we'll see. But at least I'm doing the work. And when it comes to the gym, I always saw my business. I didn't know it was going to be a gym. That's one thing. When I first went to school, I studied recreation and tourism because I was going to open up my own adventure business in West Virginia. And it was going
Cool.
to have whitewater rafting, horseback riding, all this stuff. Like I had a whole business plan for it and everything, at the age of 17. And when I got to school, I realized that I was super interested in exercise, the science of exercise and nutrition. So I ended up kind of diverting a little bit, but I always still wanted to do that adventure business. So I kind of merged it a little bit. And we do sports that are outside of the norm. They are not normally the sports that are going to be provided to kids at school. So, like a weightlifter, you have weightlifting in the curriculum, but most schools don't have like an Olympic weightlifting program for their athletes to join as part of their school team, right? That's like
Mm-hmm.
a hard thing to find unless you're in like a really large school, maybe like
Yeah.
a Florida 6A school or something. But that's where the club atmosphere comes from. So we wanted to be able to say, you know what, we're Shoe Fly Barbell Club. We're opening a club that is open to all ages, whether you're masters, whether you're literally in elementary school or middle school or college. You have a place to come in and train to compete at this sport if you want. And we treat it just like you would if you were like showing up for, your school's team. It's practice. It's legit. It's real. Your coach is there to work and to support you and to coach you and cue you and travel with you when you go to an event. And so that was one thing that I wanted to be able to provide. I also really wanted to be able to do a boxing program because, like I was telling you, I grew up in that rec center in the closet area where there was a couple punching bags, and I learned how to box as a kid. My dad was a boxer, and it was just a bunch of sweaty men having a good time. But I learned a lot in that experience, and I wanted to be able to provide a boxing club because that's another avenue specifically for kids and youth that seem to have a lot of struggles, or maybe they have just been dealt a hand that isn't great for them. They don't have a whole lot of opportunity or support from family. They're doing a lot of things on their own. Those are the type of athletes that end up kind of boxing opens their arms and pulls them into,
Yeah.
because these kids are gritty. These kids
Yeah.
have been through some stuff. They might be struggling through who knows what mental health wise. And the outlet that boxing can give those kids, where they are learning a life skill that is self defense, but also getting a lot of that anger and aggression and learning how to be healthy and how to fuel their body and how to manage their weight and how to be strong, explosive, fast, and coordinated. When I think about a sport that like pulls people in and teaches them a lot of different things, and also is very accepting, I think of boxing. And so that was the reason why I wanted to throw boxing in there. I was like, I want a weightlifting team. I want boxing. I want to be able to obviously do functional fitness slash high intensity slash CrossFit, whatever you want to call it. To me, I went to school for this. I was a strength coach. This is not anything new. This is just giving access to the general public what you would only get through having an athletic background in sports, where you might have a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
So being able to put all of that into one has been very hard, but it's also taken an evolution. It didn't happen all at once. And it's still, not happening all at once. So I would say that, the goal was always there to be this way, but the access to the space, how much money I had, coaches, all of those things had to evolve over a span of time before I could actually do it. And so I have felt like I've been failing for a while. And then it's like, oh, we're succeeding. We're in the right direction now. We're actually doing what we set out to do day one. And we're 11 years in.
Yeah.
So that's where I think like people will give up before that. I think they'll think it's not going
100%.
to work. They'll be like, it's not going to work because it doesn't look like the goal I had envisioned. So I'm failing. So I should do something else. If I did that, then I would have never made it here. Right. And then I
Yeah.
would have been like, I just should have held on a little bit longer.
What do you think made you keep going, not quit? Like, because like you said, we read the statistics, small business, and yeah. So
If it was just about me, I would have quit.
yeah.
That's it. But it's not. And I know that there's a lot of people that rely on not just me, but what this space does for them and what the coaching staff does for them and what their, the people that they meet here do. And I mean, this is a scary, I don't know what the statistic is on this because it would be hard to figure this out. But I can tell you that I cannot count on two hands how many times someone has come to me and said that they almost ended their life, but didn't because of the community that they found in our space. And I don't normally throw that out because that's like a really deep thing. But I've
Yeah.
had multiple one-on-one encounters with athletes over the course of this 11 years, right? Where they have been in such a deep, dark place that they thought maybe I don't need to continue to do anything. Maybe I don't even need to live anymore. That's a really bad place to be. And if you can get somebody to walk into a space like ours, and instead of them feeling judged for the way they look or the way they, choose to live their life, or the fact that they may not have any clue about what it is that they're doing in this space, if they can come in and they can feel like they belong just that one time, and then they come in again and they feel like they belong, and then they come in again, and then slowly this person who you had no clue was struggling as mentally as bad as they were is evolving into this new person that you're meeting for the first time, and they're opening up and letting you know that this thing that you just thought was your job actually saved their life. That changes it. That
Yeah.
makes it more of like, well, now I can't give up. Now I can't give up, because if I give up, like, I'm not going to give up. If I fail, if it all ends tomorrow, right? Like, if it's just the business is gone, everything's gone, whatever, it will have to be because someone comes and takes it from me. Like, it won't be because I'm just like, I'll give up, I can't do it anymore. Like, I will try and I will do everything I can for as long as I can, because I know that it's special.
Yeah.
And so that's why I haven't given up, because there's been plenty of days where I've thought about it,
Of course.
Yeah, everybody that owns a business, there's no way, right? You
I
you
mean, no. I mean,
you get the worst end of the deal most of the time because you're your own boss and you know how it is.
yeah.
You're gonna do whatever it takes, and so I think that's probably why I haven't given up. And you're always going to be in these dips and valleys. And when you're in the dip, you just got to be like, all right, when do we start climbing?
Yep.
You
Learn
know?
from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get too high with the highs and don't get too low with the lows, and just keep going,
hmm Keep going. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if any of this will work out, Bats. Have no
Yeah.
clue. But I have a
Yeah.
lot of faith in myself. I have a lot of confidence in my work ethic. And I have a strong understanding of who I am as a person. And as long as I'm staying true to that and doing the best that I can, it'll lead me where it needs to lead me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's all good stuff. I don't have to look at anything. Um, what do you, I mean, if you could put it to like one word or one phrase that would like, because I always try to think people that are successful in your
hmm
category, elite, like what put you there? What could you put one word behind that? Because like you're saying, it didn't happen overnight. None of that, Um, what do you think?
Uh,
What kind of like what could you tell someone? Like oh my god, how did she get this and that? But it doesn't happen
it
just because.
doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm such a weird person. I really am. My brain is a strange place to be. I I think of everything in adventures. Like, I'm explorer at heart. I love an adventure. Um for me, I even take people on an adventure when I'm coaching them. Like, I'm
mm,
the guide, right? You're showing up
yeah,
to my class. Of course I'm the coach, but we're about to go on an adventure that none of us really know how it's going to go. And I'm the leader, I'm the guide, right? And so to me, I tell people that all the time. I'm like, figure out what makes you tick, what makes things make sense to you. And for me, it's curiosity.
hmm
Like, if I go out into the middle of the woods, I'm going to go explore every tree, every little thing I can. I want to know what's going on. And as a business owner, I'm like the same way, right? I'm like, this business can be whatever it is I want it to be. I'm super strange and weird, which is exactly why you feel like when you come into class, it's a bunch of misfits, because I'm a misfit. So I'm like the
Yeah.
ultimate misfit. And,
Same.
uh, and that's kind of what brings people together. And so I would just say, you know, grit, I think you have to have it
Yeah.
across the board. I think grit is something that means a lot of different things to different people. But to me, it means your ability to persevere, your ability to, um, be a little selfless. And then other times be a little selfish, where you know that this opportunity is meant for you. You've got to take it. And you have to be willing to be brave enough to take the risk, knowing that it might not work out. But to me, the risk of not doing something and wondering why I didn't do it would eat me alive more than going for it and failing, I think.
Yep. Same here.
I know that's not everybody's path or view, but to me, I think it would eat away at me more to not go for it.
Yeah. I always say no matter like what you're trying to do, whatever goal you have, business, health, whatever, like the hardest part is like just actually getting started, because you
Mm-hmm.
always look so far ahead, like the end point, but there's so
Mm-hmm.
many things in between, like day by day by day. So I always just try to think of like consistency, like every single day, like just looking at that day as that small picture, knowing that if you stay consistent, do the right things, follow the plan, like
Mm-hmm.
you're saying, it's going to be like this,
Mm-hmm.
but the goal is going to eventually be there, right? You don't know when, 11 years, you don't know, but that's consistency though. So,
It is. And I'm a gray, I'm definitely a person who lives in the gray. I know there's a lot of people who are black and white, like, it must be this way. In order to get there, you have to follow this step, then this step, then this step.
mhm,
Man, my instruction manual doesn't look anything like steps. It looks like
yeah.
this. And I mean, even when I write notes down, they don't make sense. They only make sense to me. And I think that that's been a blessing and a curse, because I think that I would say that some people that have probably worked with me or worked for me or in some capacity, it probably drives them crazy. The more type A personalities, where if this then that, if this then that, then I would drive that type of person crazy. Because I am definitely more of the flow, vibe,
Yeah.
situational, that sort of thing. And I think that it works well in small business, because you get to kind of manage that yourself. And I think that's why I really enjoy being a small business owner, is because you get the creativity, to be able to create something that is your own, as opposed to maybe being locked into like the bigger business model, where you have very specific rules to follow and things
Yeah.
that you can't really color outside of the lines. And I'm like the opposite. I can't color within the lines. So
Mhm.
I tend to like have to hire people or have people work with me that I'm like, "Ooh, yes, you will be very good for me. I need you to balance me out in that way."
Yeah, I think you're really good at that too. I mean,
Thank you.
that's the hard part. Yeah, not trying to do everything, just figure out who's good at stuff you're not good at. Um,
Mhm.
is a hard part, because you have to give up some stuff too, which can be hard. Yeah. All right.
And when it's your
Yeah.
baby, your
Yeah.
business, you're like, ooh,
I
how do
know.
I give this to you, to do? But you just have to trust people. You got to trust who who you've got. And I trust, I love the coaching staff that I have. They are incredible. I trust every single one of them completely. The community athletes that we have right now is just like you said, they are so diverse. It's just
Mhm.
all these different backgrounds, all these different ages and people. And I love that so much. It really feels like, I know it's taken me a long time to get here, but I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be for the first time in a really long time. So that's
Sweet.
really cool.
That is cool.
Hmm.
All right, Shree, I'm gonna wrap it up with I want you to talk about a boxing event that's very badass that's coming up. Tell us about that, and then just tell us, if anyone that wants to find Shoe Fly Athletics or to follow Shoe Fly Athletics to kind of promote it a little bit so they know where to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am very excited to announce our fight night. It's called Fuquay Fight Night. It is the first USA Boxing event that will be happening in Fuquay Arena, so that's pretty
Oh
cool.
wow!
Yeah, and most of the time you'll see these boxing events in like Fayetteville or even like Jacksonville, places where it's kind of close to a military base is a great place to host a boxing
Yeah.
event. But we're in a great location because we're going to be hitting a lot of the Raleigh fighters and the Durham fighters. We've got fighters that are going to be coming from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, West Virginia. So that's cool. And we'll have a lot of local people too, which is great. This event is actually being hosted by us and also I'm Possible Basketball Training, which is directly next to us. So you
Okay.
have our gym and you have the basketball gym. The actual show will be at the basketball gym. We're completely transforming it into a 20-foot ring and center court,
Oh
seats all
really?
around. I mean, it's going to be awesome. VIP tables, ringside seats that go all the way around the ring. And what's really neat is that USA Boxing operates this way because it is on the clubs, coaches, referees to host these shows, or these kids or these adults, these fighters, they would not get an opportunity to play their sport unless we did that.
Okay.
USA Boxing will provide referees and things like that, but they're not putting the event on. You are.
Mm.
And these athletes are trying to gain points to up their level, whether that's amateur or pro boxers, to ultimately be able to reach the height of their sport, which is the Olympics, right?
Mm. Yeah.
USA Boxing is an Olympic sport. And it's a sport that you can really go far in. Even if you don't make it to the Olympics, there are multiple avenues for people to pursue this sport, do it longevity into their life, and maybe even make money. So great. So for us, we want to be able to put a great show on for the athletes because they're the ones who are working their butt off, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're putting their bodies on the line. We want to make sure we're giving them the greatest atmosphere that we can by bringing in as many people as we can to buy these tickets and hype this up and literally have a party. Like it'll be like pay-per-view, but instead of on your TV, you're there, right? We might not have Dana
In
White.
Fuquay.
Yeah,
Yes.
in Fuquay. So date night, family night, whatever. It's going to be family friendly. First bout will go on about 2:30. The last bout will go on at 8. And we're going to have about 20 bouts throughout the day. So it's going to be really, really a good day, fun day of watching people literally hit each other. And I don't know who you are, but that's entertaining no matter what. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So that's on May 3rd.
May 3rd.
And
Okay. Is that a
May 3rd,
Saturday?
it's a Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the VIP tables, we're going to have chicken barbecue meal. So a Southern
Nice.
style, like whole spread and everything. What's really cool about the VIP tables, if anybody is listening to this that owns a business, you can buy a table and we're going to put your business information on that table in a really pretty bouquet centerpiece. It's your table for you and 6 guests to basically come, eat dinner, enjoy the night, enjoy the fights, and just have a great view. So it's a really, really cool way to sponsor, but also market your small business if you do have one. And then for us, good ways to find us. We do have a website, shoeflyathletics.com. The best way is just come in and see us. I tell people all the time, I'm like, we're right next to Big Lots, right next to Kohl's. Just come a little bit further down and check us out because like I said, we have a lot of different I didn't even touch on all of it, but we do everything from personal training to group classes to nutrition coaching. We want to be able, like I said, to kind of fit the needs of a large group of people. If we can't do something for you, we'll do our best to refer you out to someone who can. But inclusivity, hard work, good vibes, and just really teaching people how to fall in love with their own health and wellness and their own quality of life, because fit and healthy people are happy people. It
Very true.
is, if you're fit and healthy, you are most likely going to be happier than the average person who is not. And so I would just suggest coming in and giving us a shot, hanging out with us for like a week. We do a 7-day free week on purpose, or a free week, 7-day free trial on purpose, because you're not going to know whether you want to hang out and do this until you've taken multiple classes, got to meet some people, and really got yourself comfortable. So the website's a great place. On the website, you can even click try free week. All my phone number information's on there as well. And like I said, just stop by right next to Kohl's and Big Lots here in Fuquay. We are at 620 Lakestone Commons Avenue. And we don't have one yet, but we will soon serve you
Uh-oh.
a cup of coffee when you come in too.
Love it. Love it. All right, Streety, stay on for like a couple minutes just to make sure this goes through. But thank you for your time. I mean, great information. Anybody that listens to this is going to get a lot out of it. So I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for thinking of me. I don't normally do stuff like this because, I don't know, but I'm always like weirded out to get on and talk to people. But yeah, I appreciate you thinking of me, and I really look up to you as well. I know that, I mean, I've been running this business for 11 years, but what you've been able to do with Teacher Under Pressure in the short amount of time, I've got to witness it from its inception. So I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you hands down that I feel super motivated and inspired by you,
Sweet.
to the point where I'm like, man, I need to ask Bats what he's doing for his marketing team because I need some help. And I've literally thought that. I was like, I need to ask Bats for some advice. I need to throw some ideas off of him. But yeah, I appreciate you. I'm so glad you're in the gym, not only just as like an athlete, but just a really good person, somebody that I've always enjoyed, and
Yeah, it's always
somebody that
important.
I'm inspired by. So thank
Thank
you
you.
for all that you do.